Welcome back to our channel. Today's episode is on Philippine history during Spanish era or Spanish rule. Spanish colonization 1521 to 1898. Ferdinand Magellan arrived in the Philippines in 1521. Magellan landed in island of Cebu in Mactan, claiming lands for Spain, naming them Islas de San Lazaro. He set up a friendly relation with some of the locals, especially chieftains, and converted some of them to Roman Catholicism. Magellan's cross can be found in the island of Cebu. A sign below the cross describes the original cross is encased inside the wooden cross that is found in the center of the chapel. Lapu-Lapu was a ruler of Mactan who is known as the first native of archipelago to have resisted the Spanish colonization. On the morning of April 27, 1521, Lapu-Lapu led 3,000 warriors in a battle against Portuguese explorer and conquistador Ferdinand Magellan, who led a force of 49 Spanish soldiers and 6,000 native warriors from Cebu. During the battle, Magellan and several of his men were killed. The Battle of Mactan, many of the warriors attacked Magellan. He was wounded in the arm with a spear in the leg by a Kampilan. With this advantage, Lapu-Lapu's troops finally overpowered and killed Magellan. He was stabbed and hacked by spears and sword. Magellan introduced Christianity in Cebu. Reasons for colonization: the 3G. First is God, the conversion of natives to Christianity. That's why we are Christians right here in the Philippines, because of the 3G. The second G is gold, accumulation of gold and wealth. Glory, supremacy of Spain over Portugal as a superpower. Spain's contribution to the Philippines was building several churches or cathedrals in different places in our country. The Residencia, this was a special judicial court that investigate the performance of a governor-general who was about to be replaced. The Residencia, of which the incoming governor-general was usually a member, submitted a report of its findings to the king. Visita, the Council of the Indies in Spain, sent a government official called the Visitador General to observe conditions in the colony. The Visitador General reported these findings directly to the king. Encomienda was introduced in the Philippines when Legazpi, in compliance with a decree issued by the King Philip II in 1558, distributed lands in Cebu to loyal Spanish subjects. These men had helped conquer the Philippines. The encomienda was not actually a land grant, but was a favor from the kind under which the Spaniard receiving his favor was given to the right to collect tributes or taxes from the inhabitants of the area assigned to him. The man who received this favor was called the encomendero. Tribute. In July 26, 1523, King Charles V decreed that Indians who had been pacified should contribute a moderate amount in recognition of their vassalage. The Spanish closed the ports of Manila to all countries except Mexico. Thus, the Manila-Acapulco trade, better known as the galleon trade, was born. Challenges to Spanish authority. Tondo Conspiracy of 1587 to 1588 was a plot against Spanish colonial rule by the Tagalog. and Kapampangan noblemen or datos of Manila and some towns of Bulacan and Pampanga. It was led by Agustin de Legazpi, grandson of Conquistador Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. Francisco Dagohoy from Bohol, engaged by the refusal of Spanish friar to bury his brother, he led a rebellion against Spanish rule which lasted from 1744 to 1829. The Tamblot Uprising of 1621, also known as the Tamblot Revolution or Tamblot Revolt, was led by Tamblot, a kabaylan or native priest from island of Bohol in the Philippines. It was basically a religious conflict. The Tamblot exhorted his people to return to the faith of their forefathers and free themselves from Spanish oppression. Diego Silang y Andaya, December 16, 1730, died May 28, 1763, was a revolutionary leader who conspired with British forces to overthrow Spanish rule in the northern Philippines and establish an independent Ilocano nation. His revolt was fueled by grievances stemming from Spanish taxation and abuses, and his belief in a self-government that the administration and leadership of the Roman Catholic Church and government in the Ilocos be invested in the trained Ilocano officials. The Treaty of Paris, also known as the Peace of Paris, and the Treaty of 1763 was signed on February 10, 1763 by the Kingdom of Great Britain, France, Spain, with Portugal in agreement after Britain's victory over France and Spain during the 7 Years' War. Tobacco was introduced in the Philippines in the late 16th century during the era of Spanish colonization when Augustinians brought cigar tobacco seeds to the colony for cultivation. In 1686, William Dampier visited Mindanao and observed that smoking was a widespread custom. The connection of Suez Canal to the Philippine history is very important. When it opened in 1869, it paved way for foreign traders to do business with many countries. Philippines was one of those who benefited from its operation, not only in terms of business, in economy, but also about the way of life. The three martyrs, priests, are publicly garroted as alleged leaders of the Cavite conspiracy, a movement of secularization and nationalism which is distasteful to the Spanish friars. They are Burgos, known as the Gumburza, Burgos, Mariano Gomez, Jacinto Zamora. The rise of the Filipino nationalism, the campaign for reforms, propaganda movement. The propaganda movement was literally a cultural organization informed in 1872 by Filipino immigrants who had settled in Europe. Composed of Filipino liberals exiled in 1872 and students of attending Europe's universities, the organization aimed to increase Spanish awareness of the need of its colony, the Philippines. Its prominent members included Jose Rizal, author of the No Limitangere novel, and Il Filibusterismo, Graciano Lopez Jaena, publisher of La Solidaridad, the movement principal organ, Mariano Ponce, the organization secretary, Marcelo H. del Pilar. These are the goals, specifically the propagandist aims, where representation of the Philippines in the Cortes Generales, Spanish Parliament, secularization of clergy, legalization of Spanish and Filipino equality, creation of public school, abolition of polo, guarantee of basic freedoms, equal opportunity for Filipinos and Spanish, recognition of Philippines as province of Spain, and secularization of Philippine parishes. The Filipino reformist Graciano Lopez Jaena, born December 18, 1856, to January 20, 1896, was a journalist, orator, revolutionary, and national hero from Iloilo. He is known for his newspaper, La Solidaridad. Philippine historians regard Lopez Haina along with Marcelo H. Del Pilar and Jose Rizal. Jose Protasio Rizal, our national hero. June 19, 1861, died 1896 of December 30. That's why December 30 is our Rizal Heroes Day. He was a Filipino nationalist writer and reformist. He is widely considered the greatest national hero of the Philippines. Marcelo Hilario del Pilar Gatmaitan, better known as his pen name, Plaridel, was a Filipino writer, lawyer, and journalist. He was the second and the last editor of La Solidaridad Solidarity newspaper of the Reform movement in Spain. La Liga Filipina, English Philippine League, was a progressive organization created by Dr. Jose Rizal in the Philippines in the house of Doroteo Ong Hongko at Elias Street, Tondo, Manila, 1892. The Katipunan, or the KKK, was a Philippine Revolutionary Society founded by anti-Spanish Filipinos in Manila in 1892. The primary aim was to gain independence from Spain through revolution. The society was initiated by Filipino patriots Andres Bonifacio Teodoro Plata Ladislao Diwa and others on the night on July 7 when Filipino writer Jose Rizal was to be banished to Dapitan. Initially, the Katipunan was a secret organization until its discovery in 1896 that led to the outbreak of the Philippine Revolution. Rizal was exiled at Dapitan, then went to Cuba and returned at Manila. Katipunan was discovered. The Spanish governor Ramon Blanco proclaims a state of war in the 8 provinces that took up arms. The provinces are Manila, Laguna, Cavite, Batangas, Pampanga, Bulacan, Tarlac, and Nueva Ecija. The Spanish executed Jose Rizal in Bagumbayan, today is known as the Luneta or the Rizal Park, near the place called Rujas Boulevard today. The Katipunan court finds the Bonifacios guilty. They are sentenced to death. The Malolos Congress, or formerly known as the National Assembly of Representatives, was the constituent assembly of the First Philippine Republic. It met the Barasoan Church in Malolos City, Bulacan. It drafted the Malolos Contribution, make that constitution. The Treaty of Paris of 1898, 1754 was an agreement made in 1898 that resulted in Spain resurrendering control to Cuba, or resurrendering control of Cuba and ceding Puerto Rico, parts of the West Indies, Guam, and the Philippines, and the United States. The cession of the Philippines involved a payment of $20 million to Spain by the United States. The treaty was signed December 10, 1898 and ended the Spanish-American War. It came into effect on April 11, 1899, when the ratification were exchanged. Okay guys, here are the 13 questions for your quiz under our topic, Spanish rule in the Philippines. Number 1 question, what branch of government does not exist under Spanish occupation? It is judiciary, executive, legislative, captain. Okay, write your answer on a piece of white bond paper and write the complete answer. Do not write just letter, okay? Number 2 question, who was the first Governor General in the Philippines? Wesley Merritt, Miguel Lopez, Elois Otis, or Roy Lopez Villalobos? Number 3 question, it refers to the highest court of justice in the Philippines. What is that? Okay. And number 4, an old practice in Spain wherein the king, in an effort to recognize the good deeds, services, and loyalty of his officers, were awarded. What is that reward? Okay. The choice is encomienda, bandala, kasama, and the caste system. Number 5, the smallest unit of government is called Distrito de Ciudad, rehiyon na barangay. Number 6, it refers to the obligation of Filipino farmers to sell their products to government at a minimum price. Incumbiena, bandala, kasama, caste system. Number 7 question, a form of forced labor, pulo y serbisyo, kawanggawa. Pulo, rabales, bayanihan. Number 8, money paid to exempted from polo is called fala, mela, kala, libre. Number 9, paid by anyone who is over 18 years old. Tributo, bandala, sidula, sambuangan. At number 10, mix of both Spanish and Indio. They were regarded inferior people by both Spanish and Filipinos. Arda, ho-ho. Ang clue dyan ay mga artista, ang magaganda ay mga mix of anong klase? Insularis, Indio Peninsularis, Urda Mestizo. Number 11 question, period of history wherein European countries secure colonies overseas for themselves. Age of Discovery, Industrial Revolution, French Revolution, or the World War II. Number 12, where the first mass was held, in Zamboanga, Manila, Limasawa, or in Cebu. There must be a fifth choice. Butuan is the second choice. Number 13, the last number, it is piece of identification paper and you recognize the authority of Spain. It is called the cedula, tributo, identification card, ID, or the bandala. Okay guys, thank you so much. Submit your answers. The soft copy to our Gmail, Google Classroom email, and the hard copy must be compiled in a brown envelope to be collected after the midterm exam. Thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for more updates.